Yeah.
What's good? It's your boy JayThat'sMe. We're going to get into TNA Impact from May the 15th, 2025. A pretty boring show for the most part. They didn't do much of anything on this show. It is what it is. And the build for Under Siege next week seems kind of the same. It's kind of boring. I don't expect for things to pick up for TNA at least until Against All Odds going into Slammiversary. I think those two shows are going to be built pretty well. But this strikes me like Backlash, pretty much, that WWE just produced last weekend. That's what Under Siege feels like. It's just not that important of a show, and not much is going to happen on that show. So we kick the show off with the first match of the night. Tessa Blanchard and Victoria Crawford, a.k.a. Alicia Fox, they won their match via DQ. Towards the end of the match, Masha Slamovich ended up bringing in she ended up using the steel chair. And she ended up getting DQ'd. So this caused Nikita Lyons from NXT to get upset. So Santino came out and he says that the fans deserve to see a result. So he wants the match to be restarted, but then Robert Stone comes out and he reverses the decision and says that it's final and that it stands. So that's fine. It makes perfect sense. I get why they're doing it, obviously. Nikita Lyons being on TNA kicks ass. She's doing pretty good for Evolve, too. She got Evolve trending, so that was great. So good stuff there. Believe it or not, I could really see Nikita Lyons in TNA doing fairly well there in that division, in the Knockouts division. I really could. Moving on. So, we had a backstage interview with Cody Deaner. He was being interviewed by Tom Hannafin. He talked about the importance of his match coming up at Under Siege, and how he must win if he wants to continue his future in TNA wrestling. He tells a story about the first time his son saw him wrestle. He recalls his son crying afterwards. He thought it was because his son thought he was hurt. Turns out it was because he lost. Deaner says that he's determined to make sure his son doesn't cry after Under Siege. Who gives a shit about this? This is a waste of time. Deaner is boring. Send him to either GCW or MLW or whatever indie that will take him. NWA. Send him there. That's where a lot of these TNA rejects need to go. So Deaner needs to go there. Eddie Edwards, Brian Myers, Moose. Send all those guys, Alicia Edwards, send all those guys and girls, Frankie Kazarian. The list goes on and on and on. Send those guys and girls that don't need to be in TNA anymore. Send them to NWA and MLW. Just send them there, please. It doesn't make any sense. And the fact that this is taking place at Under Siege is weak. Like, this is pathetic. Moving on. So this leads us into the Great Hands, which is John Schuyler and Jason Hodge. They defeat the Rascal, Trey Miguel, and Zachary Wentz with the help of Mustafa Ali. That's how they won. That pissed me off a little bit. Post-match, Mustafa Ali, he continues to assault the Rascals, and then Ace Austin, he made the save, basically. So, then Ace Austin got attacked backstage by the Great Hands of Mustafa Ali. So, Mustafa Ali, he's doing a little crazy, unhinged gimmick, which is pretty cool. I like it. I've always been a fan of I've always been a fan of Mustafa Ali. I've always have. So, good stuff there. Moving on. So, this leads us into the Fatal 4-Way for the TNA International Championship Eliminator. Matt Cardona versus Mance Warner versus Ace Austin versus Elijah. And Matt Cardona gets the win. Pretty okay match. I wish that Elijah would have won, but it is what it is. I think TNA is going to slowly but surely give him a bigger push, because we all know that Joe Hendry is going to go to WWE. It's just a matter of time. We don't know when his contract is up with TNA. I would assume if it's not this year, it's going to damn sure be next year. So probably early next year. So I'm saying between like January and March of next year, at the latest April. So, there's that. Moving on. So, Arianna Grace, she gets into Tessa Blanchard's face, and she says that she's basically tired of Tessa Blanchard's bullshit, and then Tessa Blanchard smacks the shit out of Arianna Grace, which is great. I love this. Good stuff. Moving on. So, basically, Tessa Blanchard says that she's sick of Ariana's mouth. And then, like I said before, she smacked the crap out of her. So that was cool there. So there's that. Moving on. So we get the Penthouse first class segment, which was lame. So Casey Navarro and AJ Francis, they just ran down the crowd, made fun of them. They made the usual pop references for Cheap Heat or whatever. Some basketball and rap references. They brag about how they always bring the best when they show up. So then they hype up their special guest, O'Shea Jackson Jr., a.k.a. the son of Ice Cube. And then basically, first class, they make fun of O'Shea. So AJ Francis asks why they have static. Jackson tells him he might think that he's Suge Knight, which is great, but he looks more like a broke-ass Uncle Phil. I wish he would have said broke-ass nigga, but, it is what it is. But that was pretty funny, though. So the crowd chants Uncle Phil. So, Francis made a pretty good, okay comeback. He said he should be like Uncle Phil and treat O'Shea like jazz and throw his ass out of here. So, the two of them, they almost come to blows, basically. And Mike Santana shows up, and then first class, they dip out. And then him and O'Shea, they dap up, and that was it. Like, who cares? This is a waste of fucking time. Moving on. Indy Hartwell defeats a jobber. She wins via the Don't Hurt It finisher. So it's like the full Nelson smash facebuster, whatever. It's the same move that Johnny Gargano does, or he used to do. So that's fine there. I see big things in the future of Indy Hartwell. I think she's going to be really good. You got to have young talent in the Knockouts division. Moving on. So, Indy Hartwell, she's backstage. She's talking to the camera about getting her first TNA wrestling match, winning, and getting the win in the books tonight. So she sits down, and she's about to talk more. But then Tasha Steelz, she shows up. Tasha Steelz puts her hand in Indy Hartwell's face and says she doesn't know what Indy Hartwell is doing, noting that it's cute. I'm sure it's a cute promo. But she claims to have more important matters to discuss. She turns to the camera and mentions that Mustafa Ali has been kicked out of the building before she can say anything else. Indy Hartwell stands up and cuts her off. Indy Hartwell says she just had a successful in-ring debut, and Tasha still is going to have the audacity to take her camera time. Tasha says she'll deal with Indy Hartwell later, and then she heads off with the great hands looking for Santino Marella or Robert Stone. Okay, cool stuff there. So they're going to probably do a feud between the two of them. I like it. I'm interested in this. Tasha Steelz is pretty good. She got pushed pretty heavy in 2022 and a little bit in 2023. And then after that, for the last basically year and a half, she's not really done much of anything. She's kind of just done like low mid-card stuff. Savannah Evans is now gone from TNA. So, there's that. Same thing with Kiera Hogan, but she's been gone for a while, but there's a possibility she might come back, more than likely, so whatever. But I like this. I'm interested in this. Moving on. So, Zaya Brookside versus Rosemary. So, this was a DQ finish, just like the first match of the night was a DQ finish. So they did 2 DQ finishes, which makes sense, actually. And then post-match, Rosemary wanted to attack Brookside some more, and then Xia Li ends up coming out making the save. So I like this. An interesting little storyline here, but it is what it is. Maybe they'll do the rematch either at the Go Home show for Under Siege or Under Siege itself. So whatever. But TNA doing two DQ finishes in the same night, I don't like it, but it is what it is. There's nothing we can do about it. Moving on. So, Arianna Grace, she demands a match against Tessa Blanchard at Under Siege. So, Santina Marella doesn't like the idea, but agrees to it. And then Robert Stone comes in and thinks that it's the first smart decision he's ever made. All right, that's fine there. Moving on. So, this then leads us into Frankie Kazarian. He shows up. He says that he goes on a rant and he complains about being robbed of the TNA World Championship at Rebellion. He moves on to discuss the upcoming TNA Under Siege show and mention how there's someone who feels the same way about Joe Hendry as he does. So Trick Williams shows up. He gets a pretty good reaction. So Trick says it's no secret that he doesn't like Frankie Kazarian. And I'm in that same boat, Trick Williams. Frankie Kazarian is a fucking bum. And that Kazarian doesn't like him either. Trick says they're not here to be liked. They're out here to be respected. If they were out here to be liked, they'd be like Joe Hendry. As always, the rule applies as someone said his name. So Joe Hendry comes out. Crowd goes wild. So both Frankie Kazarian and Trick Williams, they want Joe Hendry to be a fighting champion. And then Elijah shows up to even the odds. And then he mentions how it's going to be a tag match at Under Siege. So he wants to go ahead and make the match tonight. The crowd's into it. Robert Stone once again comes out and shuts it down. And then he says it's going to happen next week. It's still going to happen at Under Siege, but they're going to be taking on, I can't remember. I think it's the Lame Ass System, Moose and Brian Myers. Man, fuck this shit. Main event of the evening, Jeff Hardy defeats Nic Nemeth. And then post-match, Ryan Nemeth tried to attack Jeff Hardy, and then Leon Slater came out and made the save, and that was it. So, pretty kind of basic episode of TNA. It happens from time to time. It is what it is. There's nothing that can be done about it. So what's done is done. It was an okay show. It's just setting up stuff for Under Siege next week. That's all it is. I don't expect for anything major to happen until we get closer to Slammiversary. And I do think that maybe we might get a couple of debuts between now and then. We might even get some debuts at Under Siege. If not, definitely at Against All Odds. So, there's that. But what did you guys think of TNA? Like, comment, subscribe. Peace.